Right now at 5 in Battle, San Mateo County Sheriff Christina Corpus speaks out for the very first time since taking the stand to defend her job.
The allegations are, they're false. And I will continue to fight. I will continue to prove to this county that I continue to keep them safe.
How she's firing back at allegations of abuse, retaliation, and misconduct. Thieves target ATMs in back-to-back smash and grab burglaries in Oakland. The plea for help from residents and police who are stretched thin. And it's touted as the future of plastic recycling, so why is a North Bay community fighting to keep it out of their neighborhood? The promises made and the concerns about air quality. Plus,
change one, change thousands. How a Livermore couples leadership program is changing girls' lives here in the Bay Area and in South America.
CBS News Bay Area Evening Edition with Ryan Yamamoto.
Well, good evening. I'm Ryan Yamamoto. San Mateo County Sheriff Christina Corpus speaking out for the very first time since taking the stand to fight for her job. The sheriff answering our questions outside the courthouse on the third day of a hearing to decide whether or not she should be removed from office over allegations of abuse of power. Our Lauren Toms has been following that hearing very closely for the past few days. She is live in Redwood City, where she just spoke with the sheriff just hours ago. Lauren.
Ryan, this is really the first time Sheriff Christina Corpus is sharing her side of the story with the public. But after questioning from both her attorneys and attorneys for the county over the course of 3 days, new testimony from a former ally is challenging Corpus's sworn testimony.
Sheriff Corpus wrapped up her third day of testimony, answering questions about the harassment she's faced in her career. Her attorneys continuing to press the theme that she's a reformer under attack by an old guard resistant to change. But by late morning, a former ally and close supporter, Valerie Barnes, contradicted Corpus's testimony about her relationship with top aide Victor INJ, a relationship that Barnes described crossed the line into a conflict of interest. Outside the courthouse, Corpus told reporters she stands by her decision to bring him on to her team at a high level.
I believed in what he was doing. He believed in my vision for 21st century policing, and they didn't like that. And I was not going to allow for someone to tell me who I can have on my team. And, I stand by my decision.
Barnes recounted affectionate moments between Corpus and INJ in public and in private. Foot rubs, kisses, and a vacation in Hawaii. She testified INJ gave Corpus $12,000 in cash to purchase diamond earrings she was seen wearing in Hawaii, where Barnes searched for future wedding venues for the pair. She also testified the pair stated their intentions to get married and have kids, contradicting Corpus's sworn testimony that INJ was nothing more than a friend.
Just because I believed in him, I trust him. You have to have people that you trust on your team. That doesn't mean that I crossed the line or anything like that.
Also in the spotlight, allegations that Corpus retaliated against one of her critics by ordering the warrantless arrest last year of Deputy Carlos Tapia, the union leader accused of time fraud. The DA cleared him of any wrongdoing. A county HR employee testified that Tapia was allowed to charge for his time during negotiations. Corpus's attorneys argue tensions between the sheriff and deputies escalated over her attempts to end double overtime pay for deputies working more than 9 extra hours a week, which inflated the sheriff's office budget.
The sheriff has cracked the code. They have brought on more than 260 new employees, so many sworn officers, others in critical positions within the organization. That is remarkable.
In her first time speaking to the media since the hearings began, Corpus criticized the proceedings, which stemmed from the voter-approved Measure A, giving the Board of Supervisors the temporary power to remove an elected official like a sheriff for cause.
Sheriff, do you believe that these proceedings are being conducted fairly on behalf of the county?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
But she insists she's kept her county safe and won't be driven out.
Well, the allegations are, they're false. And I will continue to fight. I will continue to prove to this county that I continue to keep them safe. I will continue to invest in our officer wellness. I'll continue to invest in the community. And that's how I'll continue to keep my job.
Now, Ryan, these are open proceedings to the public, and about a dozen members of the public have attended each day. I've spoken with several who tell me that so far Corpus's testimony has not really changed their opinion of this situation. But ultimately, the decision to remove an elected official like Corpus from her position lies with the Board of Supervisors after they receive a recommendation from the current presiding judge.
All right, Lauren Toms reporting live from Redwood City. Our other big story, a big jump in temperatures. If you've been outside today, it's getting a little bit hotter. You probably noticed. We're in our first alert weather mode right now as the Bay Area gets ready for a heat advisory in our inland areas tomorrow. We caught up with some construction workers in Pleasant Hill who tell us they've had to take breaks to keep from overheating.
Get in the shade, take 10-minute breaks, and sometimes jump in the truck and just get some AC. And, you know, if you got to dunk your head in the ice chest every once in a while, feel free.
Let's bring in meteorologist Erin. Could you imagine standing on top of a roof and just soaking in all that heat and all that heat coming off that asphalt?
Not a good time.
Ooh, that's a hard job.
And this is coming on fast, and we haven't done a lot of these. So we've got a heat advisory that starts tomorrow. There's two ways to visualize this. You can see the heat advisory on the map, by the way. The coastline's the only place that is not included in it. The map up here, that's showing you the heat risk. In other words, what's your vulnerability to heat-related health impacts? And you can see a good part of the bay for tomorrow shades well into the orange, which means we've all got a moderate degree of that. What's that mean? We'll go back to the map. I'll show you the numbers. We'll say goodbye to the actual heat advisory, which is going to stay in place, by the way, until tomorrow night for our warmer inland microclimates. Let me show you where you were today for perspective, because the pictures and images we were showing you from today, it's pretty hot out there. So here's how you can compare how tomorrow will be hotter for your part of the bay. I've just got some representative spots. That's where we were today. We'll remove those numbers, and we're going to change the color contour on here. You're going to see it changes just enough that it gets hotter inland. See it brighten up out there a bit. But it got hotter everywhere in the bay. I'll get out of the way now. You pick out your part of the bay. This is the peak of this spike in heat. Going to 91 in downtown San Jose, but it's the 102 in Concord, the 101 in Livermore, the 103 in Antioch. Those are the trouble spots. 75 in the city is a noticeably warm day, and you're not really all that acclimated to being outdoors in that and overexerting yourself if you are a city dweller. So you do need to take this seriously, but you don't have a heat advisory in the city. Santa Rosa, you do. This is the top. I'll be back in a couple of minutes. It's going to start getting better by the weekend. It's still hot on Friday, but by the weekend, there's some improvement. I'll see you with that in a few minutes. Ryan, back to you.
All right, thanks, Darren. A major cleanup after back-to-back smash and grabs in Oakland. Thieves used a U-Haul to ram into the front of two banks in Chinatown early this morning. Investigators say the burglars were targeting the bank's ATMs. Sterling Bank and Trust and Cathay Bank are both on Webster Street, less than a block apart from each other. Amanda Harry heard from both customers and police who say more needs to be done to protect these businesses.
Two banks within feet of each other, boarded up after thieves rammed the front of their buildings with a U-Haul box truck.
It's really disappointing to hear that another incident happened last night.
Daryl Yee came by to see the damage for himself. He's banked at Sterling Bank on the corner of Webster and 8th Street for about 5 years. That bank was hit first. Then moments later, Oakland police say an alarm sounded across the street at Cathay Bank.
This seems like it's becoming an epidemic in this area where ATM machines are being stolen from businesses.
A manager with Cathay Bank says nothing was taken, but there's a lot of damage. OPD was still on the scene investigating throughout the day. No one is in custody. Despite the scary incident and the shock of seeing all the damage left behind, Yee is not thinking about taking his money elsewhere.
It's happening all over the Bay Area, so there's really no other option.
President of the Oakland Chinatown Chamber Foundation, Carl Chan, says they need people like Yee to continue to support local businesses.
The survival of our business is actually survival of our city because they generate jobs, they generate tax dollars.
Chan says they're trying to help, but there's only so much they can do.
The chamber will set up, some funds to help, businesses being damaged. So we'll try to do whatever we can. But most importantly, we're asking that there should be more resources going into the Oakland Police Department.
And president of the Oakland Police Officers Association, Wee Win, agrees.
At the end of the day, it has to do with staffing. Our number is down lower than ever before in my 25 years career.
He says on paper, they have about 650 officers, but only 515 officers actively on patrol or working their beats. The POA suggests they should have more than 870 officers to meet safety standards.
We're losing 5 to 6 officers every month. They are not retiring. They are leaving to go to other agency nearby.
He thinks there needs to be a change to the department culture and the way they pursue policing crimes. Recent statistics show that violent crime is down in Oakland, but Wynn says that's thanks to the assistance of Highway Patrol, the Alameda County Sheriff, and the District Attorney, not OPD. Yee says he continues to be concerned about what's happening, but hopes the community stays strong.
I could see where the community may band together to support each other and become more aware of these incidents happening and maybe take some precautions.
And earlier this week, another Chinatown business was a target of a smash and grab, this time in broad daylight. Thieves used a car to ram into the Kim Tin Jewelry on International Boulevard. The owner's son told us the thieves were armed with guns and hammers and stole jewelry and money before leaving. Police are still investigating. Well, a dramatic house fire in San Francisco's Outer Sunset injured 4 people, including a person who jumped from a 3rd-floor window, all to escape those flames. That fire broke out at a home on 47th Avenue between Judah and Irving Street this morning. Flames spread to 2 neighboring homes, but were put out quickly. This is a look at the aftermath. You can see the house is in the middle, is charred, and there's a pile of debris outside. And we saw firefighters right here inside investigating. A next-door neighbor described what she saw.
I heard the voice in backyard. Yeah, my windows open, and then I heard it like crying. So later on, it's bigger. People is by outside, coming the sound by outside here. And then when my husband checked by the window, then he see the fire. And then he said, okay, let's go, hurry up, out.
3 people were hospitalized and are in stable condition. 5 people in all were displaced. Firefighters also rescued a cat from the home, but that cat later died. Another cat remains missing. Well, we're following new developments in the fight to redraw congressional maps. The Republican-controlled Texas House has just passed a new redistricting map. That would give most likely the GOP 5 additional seats in Congress. The Texas Senate is now taking that up now. California, in the meantime, is pushing its own plan to redraw district lines to favor Democrats. The proposed map on the right would shrink the number of Republican districts from 9 to 4. And District 1, that includes in this, which is currently represented by Republican Congressman Doug LaMalfa, who said it leaves smaller communities without true representation.
This is a very rural district here. It has a completely different set of values than what it's going to be drawn into, basically in the Bay Area. They want to set this commission aside in order to achieve this political gain. And to top it off, there's termed out legislators that as part of the deal are being guaranteed that they'll get a more competitive seat for themselves to continue to have a job.
Voters in California will have a chance to approve the new maps in November at a November 4th special election. The Assembly and Senate are expected to vote on the plan tomorrow. Newsom said today giving voters a say is the key difference between what's happening here and what's happening in Texas.
People have this chance with this ballot on November 4th to stand up to the rule of law, stand up for co-equal branches of government, stand up to yes, Donald Trump, but also stand up in the spirit that defines this moment to people being bullied and people being intimidated.
Meanwhile, former President Barack Obama expressed his support for California's plan. In a post on X today, he said in part, quote, Newsom has put forward a smart, measured approach in California designed to address a very particular problem at a very particular moment in time. Still ahead at 5, it's going to get hot in the next couple of days, which is raising the risk of wildfires, how AI can help protect your home. Plus, a North Bay business claims it can transform the future of plastic recycling, why parents are trying to stop it from opening near a high school. And it's a perk electric vehicle owners have been taking advantage of for years, why this sticker is going away, and meet the driver who worries it will mean more traffic and longer commutes. Well, with things heating up, wildfire risk is top of mind, and today Congressman Sam Liccardo joined fire officials in Los Gatos to urge residents to create defensible space around their homes. The Santa Clara County Fire Department demonstrated AI smoke detectors and their remote-controlled burn bot, which can remove dry brush from steep terrain. There it goes. But despite all that new technology, fire officials say defensible space could be the key to save residents from disaster.
Keeping the first 5 feet of your home clear of any combustibles, including plants, furniture, wood piles, and garbage bins, for example, are critical to maintaining the resistance of your home to fire.
They also say it's a good idea to clean your rain gutters, trim tree branches, and consider fire-resistant landscaping to protect your home.
Ryan, the warm-up that's coming our way over the next couple of days is kind of a classic summer spike in heat for us, the way it's about to happen. What we're going to see build in over the next few days out here over the Four Corners is a center of high pressure that's just going to typically sit right over the Four Corners region, but expand a little bit and start reaching over towards us. So we've got this big pile of heavy air out here, which is pushing down on the ground and now spreading out, and that heat is going to be able to expand out towards us. You want a visualization for that. You can see what the color temperatures look like on here. Watch the big red blister out here just kind of grow right where we were looking at that center of high pressure, and you can see how this starts creeping over towards us. This is why our map starts looking like we get into those deep shades of red here. We looked at the temperatures at the top of the newscast. We're going to do it again because I want to walk you through Thursday and Friday so you can see the improvement for Friday. But there's one other element to this story. What that center of high pressure is going to do out here, and remember, as this thing sits out here, it is spinning the atmosphere around. So you've got everything that's kind of coming around this way and getting rotated towards us. And out here this time of year, in addition to the heat, there's also a lot of moisture available in the atmosphere. And when we look from high up above, down at the U.S., these thunderstorms, which have been developing out here for the last 6 hours, can you see how they're getting pulled into that flow? Everything's kind of getting pulled around this way and directed towards us. I don't have thunderstorms in our forecast, but what we are going to notice by the time we get to tomorrow afternoon is we're going to start to see an increase in clouds, and we're likely also going to feel a subtle increase in humidity. And that's going to impact the way it feels as you start to go about your day outside. So with a little bit more humidity and a little bit more in the way of cloud cover, if we just watch the flow in the atmosphere here on the virtual set, here's what it's going to look like in terms of that shield of clouds coming our way, getting pulled up from the desert southwest. Now, this is tomorrow afternoon. I don't think you notice much in the way of clouds, but it builds overnight. And now Thursday night, going into Friday morning, we've got a thick blanket of mid and high level clouds, which we very rarely ever have here. That impacts temperatures in a way you might not think about it because we've got a blanket overhead at night. So after we do that warm up tomorrow, and we'll get to those numbers again in a second, we're not going to get as much of a chance to cool down for Friday morning because of those clouds. And that's why Friday has now been included in the heat advisory. That was allowed to extend so that now we're talking about the possibility and the need for a heat advisory for the inland parts of the bay as we get into Friday. We'll say goodbye to our map if it wants to go. And let me show you what this looks like now from the temperature standpoint. Real quick, here's your review on daytime highs for tomorrow. This is the peak of the heat, so I'll get out of the way and you can pick out your part of the bay. And then we're going to do the transfer into Friday. Watch the inland microclimates here. Let's hang out on that view for a second, because as we say goodbye to the numbers and we transition this now into Friday, got better, but not good enough. So on Friday, your numbers are still pretty high. The cities come back down into the upper 60s, but for the inland microclimates, your temperatures are still hanging on to the low 90s, and a part of that is the fact that you're going to have this head start on warmth in the morning because of that blanket of clouds that will have been with us in the overnight hours that we saw coming our way around that big spinning region of high pressure out there. So let's put it in the 7-day forecast. I do have some good news on this. Thursday and Friday are pretty close, but after that it gets better. So in the 7-day forecast, there's our number for Thursday and Friday. By Saturday and Sunday, especially by Sunday, you're now back to average. 88 would be the average daytime high for inland microclimates. So you're pretty much getting back to that, and then you're going to stay there. So this big jump in temperatures for at least a few days is following the same pattern that every other little spike of heat that we've had so far this summer has done. They get in, maybe a couple days tops, and then they get out. We haven't had any prolonged serious heat waves this summer, and this is not going to be one of those either. But it will be serious enough for Thursday and Friday that you just want to be aware and go easy on yourself. I'll see you with more on this coming up in the next half hour. Ryan, back to you.
Okay, thanks, Darren. Hey, and when we come back, meet the East Bay couple lifting girls out of poverty with the sport of soccer.
Once you start helping, you don't want to stop. When you see the smile on a kid, you don't want to stop.
The Bay Area Events Calendar, brought to you by Broadway San Jose.
Here's what's happening in the Bay Area this weekend. It's time to rock and stroll in Oakland's Rockridge District with more than 50 local artists taking part in the mile-long outdoor community party. And enjoy a George Harrison tribute concert for world peace to celebrate the Festival of the Chariots in San Francisco's Golden Gate Park.
Are you afraid?
No. The original 2008 film Twilight is coming to San Jose Center for the Performing Arts on September 26th with a 12-piece ensemble of rock and orchestral musicians. Experience the beloved saga as the stunning score transports you straight to Forks. Book your seats now at BroadwaySanJose.com. The Bay Area event calendar is brought to you by BroadwaySanJose.com.
Well, girls in the Bay Area and Paraguay are building bridges and changing lives through soccer because of the tireless dedication of an East Bay couple. Our Sharon Chen introduces us to this week's CBS News Bay Area Icon Award winners.
Yeah, Walter Prate and Pamela Jacobson traveled to Paraguay to fulfill a promise he made decades before. And when they came back, they decided they weren't going to sit on the sidelines in the fight against poverty. Youth soccer coach Walter Prate and his wife Pamela Jacobson have a clear goal to empower girls on and off the soccer field.
If we can change one, we can change thousands.
The Livermore couple connects with girls through soccer, then expands the game plan to education and leadership. Their work began with a promise Walter made more than 30 years before when he played semi-pro soccer in Paraguay, and the people in an extremely poor community took him in.
I made a promise that one day I was going to come back and help a community that gave me so much back in the time.
So in 2016, Walter led a mission trip back to the impoverished town, and Pamela, a photographer, came home with more than pictures.
I couldn't come back after seeing what I saw to not be a part of change and a solution.
The couple kicked off Girls Soccer Worldwide in 2017. Their Livermore-based nonprofit travels to Paraguay to give girls opportunities they never had to play soccer and equip them with life skills to rise from poverty.
A lot of times these girls are either being taken out of school to provide care for their siblings or to go to work.
Education is the medicine for poverty. If we teach a kid how to become better in life, they're not going to need from anybody.
So Girls Soccer Worldwide provides food, school supplies, scholarships, and even builds homes for girls in rural Paraguay. Teenage girls from the Bay Area called ambassadors raise money to travel on a 9-day mission each year. More than 100 ambassadors have touched the lives of thousands of girls like Maria. The nonprofit renovated her family home. She won its first scholarship and became her family's first high school graduate.
She was the one that we saw the change.
Today, Maria helps run the ambassador program in Paraguay. And teenage ambassadors like high school senior Margaret McKay returned to the Bay Area ready to do more.
It's a great feeling to be able to make a difference and to feed these families and to clothe them and to give them an opportunity to have education, especially these girls who are my own age.
Girls Soccer Worldwide also runs a grassroots leadership program in underserved Bay Area communities. Participant Diana Zarco conquered her fear of public speaking and gave a speech that made Pamela and Walter proud.
I think they're amazing people. I love how they're trying to inspire others, and they've inspired me.
It's important to use your voice, but to use it in a positive way. We truly do believe if you can give a girl a voice and teach her how to use it with the right purpose in mind, she has the power to change the community from within.
It's an addiction. Once you start helping, you don't want to stop. When you see the smile on a kid, you don't want to stop.
So for empowering girls through girls soccer worldwide, this week's CBS News Bay Area Icon Award goes to Walter Prate and Pamela Jacobson.
Walter coached boys soccer for the Ballistic United Soccer Club the last 2 years and the Rage Girls Soccer Club for 15 years. The teen ambassadors, they have to raise their own funds to travel to Paraguay, $3,200 apiece.
Yeah, truly a great program. And what real bridge builders they are.
Yes.
All right, thanks, Sharon. Well, you can nominate a local hero for an Icon Award at kpix.com/icon. Coming up in our next half hour, plastic pollution is a global problem, and one company says it can help. Why the technology it is using is causing concern in one North Bay city. And the people in the South Bay rally to demand a ceasefire in Gaza. This as Israel makes plans for a new escalation in the war. And it's a sticker that gave EV drivers access to the carpool lane, but that's all changing when drivers will have to switch lanes. Right now at 5:30, a heated debate over a proposed recycling facility in the North Bay. A company called Redistricting believes it could transform the future of plastic recycling. It says it could break down plastics like thin plastic bags that right now are not able to be recycled. The company is waiting on approval to begin operations in Rohnert Park, but neighbors are pushing back. They're worried about potentially harmful emissions and other environmental impacts for the high school close by. Kenny Choi takes a look at what Redistricting is promising and the concerns of the community.
Tons of plastic collected, stacked, and ready to be recycled.
Like in some of the prototype systems, we had pressure relief. And
Redistricting co-founder Brian Bauer says the technology, first developed out of his garage, is ready for all that plastic.
So this is non-hazardous medical waste, like the blanket you might get before you have your doctor's appointment.
And right now, that's not being recycled.
This is not being recycled.
It's those kinds of plastic, including garbage bags that are not allowed in blue bins, that Bauer says can be recycled using its patented technology called continuous microwave assisted pyrolysis.
By heating without oxygen, so there's no burning, there's no incineration, it breaks those molecules down into short chains, and that's a gas, and when it goes into a cooler, it cools into a liquid, and that liquid's a lot like crude oil.
Redistricting claims this process reduces carbon emissions by 68% compared to conventional plastic production.
They take that crude oil, we sell it to the petrochemical companies, and they remake virgin plastic.
Bauer says emissions from their recycling modules is equivalent to a semi-truck. Redistricting is holding open house events, letting Rohnert Park residents tour the facilities. Many neighbors are skeptical, concerned about the possibility of explosions and fire or air and ground contamination.
There's families all around us in Rohnert Park, and there's a high school here. I just don't want any leaks.
Others are more open as long as strict air quality inspections take place, acknowledging it's difficult to understand the intricacies of chemical recycling.
It's normal to be afraid, but to find a solution, I think it's worth trying anything.
Justin Flake lives in the neighborhood and is a parent of a student at Credo High School, whose campus is about 500 feet from the Redistricting plant. Flake is one of nearly 5,000 people who signed a Change.org petition calling on Redistricting to shut down its operation.
The microwave technology that they're touting is not proven. There's nothing else that exists like it in the United States. And we don't want to be guinea pigs. We don't know why it needs to be right in the middle of a residential neighborhood.
City Council member Susan Adams says flyers delivered to homes and social media posts with pictures of factory smokestacks are misleading residents.
There's no black smoke coming out of anywhere. I live in this community. I was raised in this community. If they were doing damage to the environment right here at this shop, I would be in the front of the line trying to stop them.
Bauer is waiting for the Bay Area Air Quality Management District to issue a permit that would allow Redistricting to operate its reactors 5 times a day and move closer to its ultimate goal of national expansion, recycling plastics at a higher rate.
Along with neighbors' concerns, a law firm has also filed an intent to sue notice to Redistricting, claiming the company ran its pilot program without proper permitting. We also followed up with the Bay Area Air Quality Management District about monitoring for that plant It said in part any permit issue would include enforceable requirements to ensure the facility operates within all applicable air quality rules and protects public health. The Air District regularly inspects and monitors facilities throughout the Bay Area to ensure compliance with air quality regulations. More aid was dropped over the Gaza Strip today as Palestinians face a severe food shortage caused by Israel's blockade. Humanitarian groups say the airdrops are still not enough, and much of that does not reach those in need. Here in the Bay Area, protesters marched in downtown San Jose to stand against Israel's 22-month-long siege in Gaza. They blame Israel for killing more than 65,000 people and injuring more than 150,000 others, as well as an American government for its support of the Israeli government.
This is not a conflict. This is not a war. This is a genocide. And yet our government continues to fund it.
In the meantime, Israel's military says it will call up 60,000 reservists ahead of the expanded Operation Gaza City. An Israeli military official says the troops will operate in areas where they have not been deployed yet and where Israel believes Hamas is still active. Coming up next at 5, life in the carpool lane is about to change for drivers of electric vehicles when their stickers will be void.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
A beast, drilling in a beast.
And later, they were fishing for a halibut in Tamales Bay, but reeled a sea bass and a possible world record. Look at that. Heads up, if you have an electric car and you drive in the carpool lane, get ready to move on over. That's because that simple sticker that allows electric cars into the carpool lanes is about to become invalid. Kara St. Cyr heard from a driver who's been taking advantage of that perk for years.
I've had carpool stickers in EVs since 2011.
Steve Lemke's Tesla was a dream buy. But these clean vehicle decals make this purchase worth it.
It's good for lessening traffic. And then when EVs came out, it helped really motivate people to buy EVs, which is, so many positive aspects. It's good for the environment.
This sticker gives people in electric vehicles access to the HOV lane, even if there's only one person in the car.
When traffic is completely jammed on 101 or 85 or 280, or in this case, San Tomas Expressway or Lawrence Expressway, you're able to drive in the carpool lane.
The program needs federal legislation to keep it going, but lawmakers haven't voted on an extension. The California DMV website now says the decals will expire on October 1st. Lemke is disappointed.
People generally don't carpool, and all these single vehicle clean air vehicles are going to be thrust back into the other lanes because they won't be able to ride in the carpool lane.
Bill McGavern, the policy director for Coalition for Clean Air, says losing the decals will affect more than just traffic.
It's absolutely vital that we make the transition to zero-emission vehicles because California has the worst air pollution in the whole country, by far.
The 2024 State of the Air report from the American Lung Association listed California among states with the worst air quality in the country. Car emissions were among the leading pollutants. But McGavern says there could be a silver lining.
The solo driver zero-emission cars out, then you may see a benefit in the carpool lanes are moving better, and that's better for the cars that actually are carrying 2 or more people.
Drivers have until August 29th to order a decal, but time is limited to use them.
There's a Chevy Bolt with carpool stickers on it.
Lemke says he's happy he got to use the decals for so long.
It's a great incentive.
He just hopes the state can find another incentive to motivate people to buy electric.
Yeah, it's right.
Well, last year, there were more than 400,000 vehicles on the road with active stickers. Coming up, beaches are closed, evacuations are in place. We're tracking the path of Hurricane Erin.
Straight ahead in sports, the Golden State Valkyries, record-breaking by the game. And the 49ers, the fate of a star receiver, the latest from this final week of the Niners preseason games.
Well, Hurricane Erin is barreling up the East Coast and is expected to intensify through Thursday. Dangerous waves are slamming the North Carolina coastline. Lifeguards have already rescued dozens of people from rip currents there. People are warned to stay out of the ocean. Mandatory evacuations are underway in the Outer Banks. Heavy equipment is helping shore up those dunes. And the International Space Station captured this view from above. A massive storm that's expected to get even bigger as it skims the Atlantic coast. So that's what people are dealing with on the East Coast. Here on the West Coast, specifically in the Bay Area, we're dealing with heat.
And those two, this is a time of year where those two are going to go hand in hand progressively more often now for about the next 6 to 8 weeks. Hurricane season ramps up. At the same time, we become vulnerable to heat waves here at home. There's two ways to talk about the heat coming our way tomorrow. There's the heat advisory on the map, and there's the heat risk map behind me. I'm going to come back to that in 1 second. First, take a look at the heat advisory. Look where it's not. It is not along the coastline, and it is not in the city. Your daytime highs in San Francisco are going into the mid-70s tomorrow. That is a warm day, but you and the coastline have just enough moderating influence here from the Pacific. This is not one of those heat waves, and we get them, and we could still have a few this summer, where the heat goes all the way to the beaches. So that's good news. But let's draw your attention to where you really need to be aware. That's the heat advisory. This is where the National Weather Service just colors in the counties and says, here's where the advisory is. This is the heat risk map. It's very different. It tries to get a lot more specific and detailed and down into the microclimates for which parts of the bay are more vulnerable to this than others. No surprise, look inland. So the inland parts of the bay that are shaded in orange and red, that's where you have a high degree of heat-related health impacts as a possibility. We all need to be mindful of this tomorrow. But if you're inland and if you're in the areas in red, this is really for you. This heat advisory, it stays in effect for just 1 day for the majority of people in the bay. So the locations down the peninsula and the East Bay Shore, that heat advisory is going to be allowed to expire on Friday. Back here, it doesn't. You're still going to, when we look at this map again tomorrow, it's still going to be orange over here for 1 more day of the heat advisory, but in the interior of the bay, things will have improved. Let me show you why that is. Let's take a look at where we're going to be for daytime highs. Daytime highs for tomorrow. So this is Thursday, which is kind of where we hit peak heat. Peek out your part of the bay and you'll see where you are. A lot of this is 5 to 7 degrees above where you were today. Maybe even a little more than, in fact, probably closer to about 10 degrees warmer for the inland East Bay. Concord at 102, Antioch 103, Livermore's going to 101, and Santa Rosa will go to 99. So if Friday is better, let me show you how. And when we watch it this way, you'll go, oh, all right, technically it's better, but it's not really all that much better. We'll say goodbye to the numbers, and we're just going to transition to watch the color contours get us into Friday. And when that happens, keep your eye inland. Didn't change a whole lot. It did get better. I mean, we certainly have cooler air here, but if you're inland for Friday, you still have numbers that are pretty hot and hot enough for that heat advisory. But the city comes back out in the mid-70s, and the beaches, which already had a pretty nice Thursday and Friday, you're going to start actually getting kind of cool at the beaches on Thursday and Friday, while we are starting to do the big extremes from one side of the bay to the other. You're still on the verge of 100 if you're inland, and you're going to be in the mid-60s here at Half Moon Bay. So now we're kind of, every heat wave has its own variety. This is one where the beaches are really, and the city won't really have to deal with the worst of this. 74 degrees is a warm day in the city, sure, but you're not really overly concerned from this one, and the National Weather Service didn't even put you in the heat advisory. All right, so let me show you when it really gets better. 7-day forecast now, and you'll see what happens after we do that subtle drop on Friday. We'll do a better drop for the weekend. So now it's low 90s on Saturday. And then by Sunday, you're down to the 80s. That's average. And then you'll just sit there going through the rest of the 7-day forecast. And when we look at the numbers for the bay, they're warm numbers for the bay. And remember, this is most of us in the interior, whether it's East Bay Shore or Peninsula, got a heat advisory tomorrow. And you can see why. Those are hot enough numbers in general. That's like Redwood City, Hayward. That's kind of like your number, maybe upper 80s. San Jose is going to be well into the 90s tomorrow. But then everybody gets better as we start to go through the rest of the week, and it'll be low 70s by the time we get towards next week. Juliet, over to you.
I like that everybody gets better. All right, Darren, thank you so much. Coming up at 6 o'clock, Santa Rosa caught in the middle of California's redistricting fight. So we'll meet some voters who say they're ready to hold their noses and support the governor's plan. Plus, we're going to look at the new tools and new partnerships to help prevent and fight wildfires in the South Bay. And then we'll check in with UC Berkeley students saying goodbye to summer break as they move into their new dorms. So all that at 6 o'clock in about 10 minutes. Let's get to my favorite.
one of my favorite sports guy, Vern.
KPIX Sports is powered by Kia. Learn more at kia.com. Kia, movement that inspires.
All right, NFL up top in the 49ers. We'll start you off with the news of wide receiver Demarcus Robinson. The teams knew that this was coming, that it would be suspended by the league for the first 3 games of the regular season, a consequence of a DUI charge last November when he was with the Rams. For more on training camp in Santa Clara, here's Matt Lively.
The 49ers continue to deal with a number of injuries, but I can confirm they will have enough healthy players to take the field in the preseason finale on Saturday. George Kittle was impressed with the NFL's new virtual measurement system during last week's broadcast. There's another new rule that he's not a fan of. The league is banning teams from providing players with smelling salts, but Kittle has come up with a solution.
I know that the team can't provide it, but I can provide my own at all times. So I'm carrying for the team today.
No, you're carrying for yourself. That's it.
I've been passing out to the defensive linemen a lot. Nick Bosa stole a lot from me today, but it's okay.
If someone gives me one, I'll take a smell of the salt. If they don't allow that, I'll probably shake my head a few times and smack myself and get ready to lock in.
WNBA and the Valkyries. This had a franchise record with 59 first-half points last night. But with only 8 healthy players, they ran out of gas in the second half, trying to stay with the high-powered Phoenix Mercury. But shout-out point guard Veronica Burton. 24 points, 14 assists, and no turnovers. First player in the W history with that stat line. But it wasn't enough to hold off the Mercury down the stretch. The frustration of the loss was briefly put on hold where they participated in a post-game shoe swap. The players gave their game-worn shoes to high school students from Oakland School of Arts and San Jose's Archbishop Mitty. In return, they received custom shoes that the students designed and decorated themselves.
I keep staring at the shoes. I'm like, I'm wearing these in the tunnel for sure.
This is truly incredible. I've never done something so professional, so interesting, and I'm feeling really, really inspired by the players that I got to see tonight.
For someone to tell me I inspired them and for me to be able to do that for them, I feel good about it, man. She was happy, I was happy. I got me a brand new pair of shoes, so I'm just grateful.
Do you guys have the same shoe size? Or will these fit, or are these more just you're going to put them on the wall?
I'm going to put them on the wall. I'm going to cherish these.
Tip Hayes has over 150 pairs of shoes, but we learned last night that there's at least one pair she won't be adding to her collection.
All right, will you grade my current shoes?
Man, you know everybody got those. I got to get them like a 3.
I'm just basic is what you're saying.
Basic, man, yeah. But you know that. Come on now. I know you got something else in the closet. I know you do.
I'm going to hit Nike.com tonight.
I got you.
Thank you, Tip. I need some help.
I got you.
All right, I have no shoe game. I got brown, I got black, I got some rubber boots for bad weather, and that's it.
You're a practical man.
Not much variety in my game.
And Matt Lively, those are the Panda Dunks.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone has those.
Well,
that's okay.
I don't even have those.
Okay. You don't need them because you're Vern Glenn.
Oh, please.
All right. Thanks, Vern. It was this big. Meet the Northern California kid who caught the one that didn't get away and maybe set a world record in the process. Well, there are plenty of fish in the sea, but a 13-year-old boy in Sutter County may have caught the biggest of them all. Reporter Kayla Mahler spoke with the kid who made the catch of a lifetime in Tamales Bay.
Behind me is a school full of kids, and one of them might have just reeled in a world record.
I thought it was a shark when I first saw it.
13-year-old Rio Oso resident Julian Herr recently pulled a 63-pound white sea bass from the water over in Tamales Bay.
I said, "Uncle Chong, is that a bite?" And the whole rod went down, and we just all started screaming.
At first, we didn't know.
We thought it was just another halibut because that's what we were fishing for.
Julian, his dad, uncle, and cousins were fishing like usual. And when Julian was struggling to reel in his catch, I feel it! They thought he was being dramatic.
We were just kind of like, knock it off, you know, come on, just reel it in. And after a while of that, I thought, well, maybe this is a bigger fish, and I should probably start recording.
And this is the moment they laid eyes on the white sea bass coming to the surface.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
A beast, reeling in a beast, and my arms were like hurting.
Yeah, and did you have a little help getting it in?
My uncle helped me by holding up the rod, but he didn't touch the reel at all.
The fish was pretty much bigger than the fishermen.
It was pretty amazing, like right there.
Now they've sent in the application to the International Game Fish Association to see if Julian's catch meets the criteria to hold the new juvenile world record. Upon my own research, it looks like the last record for this fish was in 2002 at 59 pounds.
We'll see. And, you know, I told him, you know, he knows that, and it wasn't our goal, you know, he knows it's okay if it's not. We had a blast, and we made core memories for life, and, you know, he was already he already loved fishing, but he's going to be a fisherman for life now. So
That was a big fish. Okay, that's it for the news at 5.